All right, beautiful people. You already know how we come in. Welcome to another episode, season 2. We starting off season 2 with a major guest, and this just happened spur of the moment. As we know, that's how life works, man. You got to always be ready for opportunities, and you prepare yourself to be ready for opportunities. But don't let me get in my teacher bag. But today we got one of the Florida greats. He played football, but we're going to talk a little football, but he was one of the best to do both of them. We had Cornelius Ingram before that played basketball and football, but man, we got a Florida hoop legend. He's a football legend too, but we talking hoops today, Mr. Adrian McPherson. Y'all show love in the comments when you're watching this. We need to clap and see emojis and all that. So appreciate you for joining the pod, brother.
Bro, anytime, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. So we like to always start at the origin, man. You born and raised in what part of Florida?
Bradenton, Florida, man. Born and raised in Bradenton. Yep.
Oh, 941.
941.
Yeah, all my partners brag about you all the time. Like, hey man, I know y'all got to do Adrian McPherson. I say I got to get him.
Yeah, you a person that everybody always say we have to do for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'm here.
So let's talk basketball early on, man. With you being a two-sport star, like, did you catch on to basketball first or football first?
It was basketball. Basketball was always my first love. Football was just kind of, especially down here in this area. I mean, we had so many greats come before me in football. You had, the Pete Wards, the Tommy Frazier's, Tyrone Williams, Shevin Wiggins, like all those boys. So you just kind of grow up watching football, hearing about football. And we had some basketball players. You had a Cliff Rozier, LaRon Williams, Elliot Washington, but they were a bit older than me. So I didn't really basketball guys that I felt like did it that came from this area that I could see and touch. Whereas these other guys, Tommy, Pete, like I could see and touch them because they were older, but I was still able to watch them play. Okay. But basketball was always my first love. My pops played ball, and he kept a ball in my hand young and taught me everything I knew about the game. And he just had a brilliant plan for me ever since I was a kid. Like he would always say, if you want to do this, as long as you got your grades, I'll make sure we put you in position to make it happen. It's your job to be ready. When the time comes, it's my job to find out where we need to be so the right people can see you. And so he always, man, like at a young age, I always played older. You know what I mean? And that was a part of his plan. Like he was always saying, like, oh, okay, well, if you play with your age group, you're going to be one of the taller ones, so they're going to put you at a forward or a center. You're never going to be a forward or a center. So he would always make me play 2 grades higher, 2 age groups higher, because I was always the smallest. Now I got to play point guard. And he's like, as you get older, as you get taller, you're going to be extremely comfortable with the ball in your hands as a 6'3", 6'4" point guard. And when you get to high school, you're not going to be fearful of playing against seniors as a freshman because you've been doing it your whole life. So he just had a brilliant plan, man. I trusted the plan, and we just worked.
Yeah. That's a great. I want to switch gears because, like I said, I'm an agent, and then I coach middle school basketball. But you said something that's very cool. That's very key. You said you played up. How do you feel now with reclassing and people trying to play down? If you're familiar with it.
Well, you know what? You know what the crazy part is? So when I graduated high school, I was 17. So I turned 18 in summer school at Florida State. Crazy. So me and my dad kind of had them conversations like today, like, man, what if I would have reclassed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy. You know what I mean? So I do think it's benefits to that. And the reason I say that is because from the age of 17 to 18, my freshman year at Florida State, where I probably should have still been in high school. All my boys that I grew up with were still in high school, but I matured so much that year. You know what I mean? So I think another year of just my body maturing as far as being a legit 18-year-old would have helped me from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, the whole 9 yards. So I'm definitely all for it. You know, and
That
I
makes
got a
sense.
daughter. So yeah, I got a daughter. So she has an April birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking about, she played volleyball. What do we do there? Just for those same reasons that I experienced, I just think that's a huge maturity year. So I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, I always love to hear different perspectives because you see where it works and it makes sense, and then you see where it don't. Maybe I'm 39, I ain't too old. They call me OG now. It's crazy. I'm
Yeah,
on
yeah.
39. But I see where I don't know. I'm just so like, man, when we was young, we were trying to play up. We weren't trying to
Yep.
stay
Yep.
in the same group or play down. But I get both perspectives for
But
sure.
but it's also this too, right? It's like, why are you
Yeah,
doing it? Like, because for me personally, I feel like
yeah,
if you're that elite talent, you know they that elite talent at 16, 17, even
yeah,
before that, right? So
yeah,
like if you being held back from a sense of like you just want to play with younger kids or standing out with younger kids, that's one thing. But I think for me, I was already playing good ball, football and
yeah,
basketball young, but I could have definitely used another year of just lifting,
yeah,
physical
yeah,
maturity, as well as mental maturity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it had nothing to do with the game. It was more just allowing my body to develop a little bit
yeah.
more.
That makes sense. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
So let me ask you this question because like we grew up in the era like with you being a dual sport star, most athletes in Florida grew up playing football, basketball, and baseball. It was just
Yep.
how we was groomed. Now you hear these kids say, my dad took me out of football just so I can concentrate on basketball, or my dad stopped me from playing basketball just so I can concentrate on football. Do you think it helped you playing multiple sports, or do you agree now with the philosophy that a lot of kids are going strictly one sport now and training
Uh,
all year
uh,
long?
I think times have changed, right? So like since times have changed, you kind of have to change with the time.
Yeah,
Like I think
Mhm.
right now, if you're just a decent one sport guy, like let's just say you're good at football, but you're just decent at basketball or decent at something else. With everybody training year round, I kind of think you have to, because if you don't have the ability to play at the next level in basketball, you also don't have the ability to like not be focused on football for 3 or 4 months while
big
everybody
true.
else are. Now, on the flip side of that, it's kind of like, okay, well, what other sport are you doing? Like if you run in track, okay, that makes sense to me
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that helped you in football. But basketball, and again, like I was pretty good at both, you know what I mean? But I never took time off from
you
one.
was
Like
exceptional at both. We gonna give you your flowers. You was
I appreciate it.
exceptional.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it. But like even in football season, I was training for basketball after football practice. Even in basketball
that's what I wanted
season,
to ask.
yeah,
Okay.
even in basketball season, I was still training for football. I never took time off because if you think about it, during basketball season is when all the football camps are going on. So nobody's going like I wasn't going to be able to show up to a Nike camp and compete, against the other top quarterbacks in the country and them say, "Well, hey, let's give him a pass cuz he playing basketball right now." Like that wasn't going to happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then in the summer when we get ready for football, well, that's when all the Nike All-American basketball camps going
Yeah.
on, like all that stuff is going on. So I couldn't afford to like take time off. So I was literally training for both of them year round.
Yeah, you was on the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you went to Bradenton Southeast all 4 years?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So I got to ask you, what was your first him moment?
Um, I'm not sure. Like if I think back on just my thought process, man. Like again, my pops did a great job of just shielding me from a lot of stuff. So like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I never even realized, like it's almost like even now I'm still kind of catching up on like things that I've done. I never took time to be like, dang, I really accomplished
Wow.
all of that. You know what I mean? That's why I was asking earlier. If y'all got any clips, let me know because I really don't have a lot of that. I was so focused on the job that like I didn't read newspapers, I didn't watch rankings, I didn't do none of that because I was always worried about like getting caught up into that. You know what I mean? Getting caught up in the people's opinion. But when I realized, okay, I don't have no fear. I remember going to the Southeast as a freshman. You know, at the
Mm-hmm.
time I think I was 13, maybe just turned 14, and we was in the summer and we had Travis Garvey. And Trap was real good in basketball and football as well, but he was the man. Like he had started at Southeast in basketball for 4 years. He was gonna be a senior. I was gonna be a freshman. So my pops was like, "Hey, we're about to go to Southeast summer ball and hoop." They want to decide if they're gonna let you play varsity or JV. And so I had no idea. I'm like, "Well, who is the best player?" And he's like, "Travis Garvey." I'm like, "Okay, I want to guard him." You know what I mean?
Okay.
Did he say it like you need to know who he is? Like you don't know who
like,
he is? Okay.
yeah. So when I showed up to practice, I walk in and we getting ready to play, and I'm like, because I still don't know who he is. I know the
Yeah.
name. So I'm like, okay, who is Travis? And he looked at me like, I'm Travis. I'm like, okay, I'm guarding you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so,
That dog.
yeah, so my pops was kind of like, that's when he kind of knew I didn't have no fear, because he had always seen me playing against, you know, younger cats. And I used to go to Kentucky, like every year my pops, whoever won the national championship in basketball, that's where I went to summer camp at.
That's
So
Oh,
smart.
wow.
yeah. So he was
Yeah.
real strategic with how we moved.
Yeah.
So my seventh grade year, I went to Kentucky camp because they had just they had like
Oh,
Scott Padgett, Musa Muhammad,
Myron team.
yeah. So I did so well at that camp that every night they played pickup ball. He was letting me play with the college guys. Tubby Smith
That's
was
hard. That's
as
hard.
like
Wow.
a going into the eighth grade. And my pops was like, you didn't shy away from it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like you didn't like you had legit 7-footers on the court and you didn't shy away from it. And my mentality was always like, okay, well, if they bigger than me, then I'm quicker than them. You know
yeah.
what I mean? If they smaller than me, then I'm gonna post them up. You know what I mean? So it was just that mentality, I believe. And then I think my freshman year, if we're talking about okay, when did you realize you was
Him.
him? Honestly, I don't think I ever did. Like,
Mm.
I don't think I ever did because,
Hold
like,
on, hold on, hold on. I know you being humble, but you trying to tell me that night you dropped 63, you ain't know you was him.
not no, because like I just felt like I was better than them, but not necessarily him. So my pops used to always say, if you're gonna be one of the best players in the country, well, you got to be the best player in the city. You got to be the best player in the state. So even when I had a great game, it was almost like, well, I'm supposed to do that, right? Like if I'm
Mm.
saying I want to be this, I'm supposed to do this. You know what I'm saying? And it was all, and I was always like critical of my game. You know what I mean? So even the night that I scored 63, I missed like 6 free throws. So in
Mm.
my mind, I'm like, well, dang, I should have had 69. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, and then well, how did I get to 63? Where could I have gotten better? Like, so it was always, I never really took time to like stay in that moment. And I think that's a part of what helped me because it was like, because I feel like the moment that you kind of feel like you him, you get complacent. And I
Yeah.
never wanted to
Yeah.
do that. You know what I mean? And it will also like my pops would always say, hey, every time you play a game, it's gonna be somebody's first time seeing you play. It's gonna be somebody's last time seeing you play. What kind of memory you want to leave them with? So like he would
That's
always say little
that's
stuff to me that always
hard.
just like kept me going. You know what I mean? We would enjoy the moment, but it was like, okay, what can we do next?
At Bradenton Southeast, gotta ask you, who's the best player you ever played against?
Oh man, that's tough. I was thinking about that. I tried to narrow it down to five, but
You can give us
I
five. Just
I
give.
got to like a solid. I got to a solid 8. You know what I
That's
mean?
all. Yeah,
Go
we can do
ahead.
that.
Cause I tried to like I was playing varsity as a freshman, so it was like some good dudes I played against as freshmen. I wasn't playing a ton, but I was playing. So you had BB Walden, I played against
Polk
him as a
County.
Ooh, I
freshman. That's what
forgot
I thought
about
was good.
him.
We got to do
I
Yeah,
BB.
forgot about bro. Yeah.
Polk County. We
so
got to do BB.
we had BB. I played against Altron Jackson as a freshman. Altron was good. I played against Desmond Allison, who was real
Tampa.
good. Yep. And then once we kind of got into my era, it was Amari Stoudemire. So we played on the same AAU team. I didn't play against them, but we was on the same team. But in practice, I would never play on his team. I would always ask coach, can I play on, because I needed to work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
obviously he what he is. So you had Amari, um, Orion Green was real good.
OG.
I played against
OG.
OG. He was real
Yeah.
good.
We got OG
Um,
coming up soon too. Yep.
yeah, OG was good. Jackie Manuel was real good. I played against Jackie
Palm
Manuel.
Beach. Okay.
Yep. Charles Frederick was real good. I played against Charles.
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. And who was the last one? Um, that would probably be my top ones that I played in Florida. You know what I mean? It was some good players, but I never played. Like I saw what y'all did, Ladarius Hawk, but I never played against him. I used to see him, but I
Yeah.
never played
Yeah.
against him. Trying to think who else. Oh, we did play one year. We played Miami Senior when they had UD, Brent Wright, Stevie Blake, all that
Steve,
was on the
yep.
same team.
Yep.
So that year was tough too. You know
What
what I
year
mean?
did you
Yeah.
graduate high school?
I graduated 2001.
Okay, 2004. Okay, got you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
went to high
So
school with Marquise Daniels. I don't know if you remember him. He played in the
You
NBA.
know what? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. My Keith had just, no, actually, I did play against Keith. So my freshman year, him and
Yep.
Big Jelly put us out.
Yes, you know Big
Yeah,
Jelly?
I played with
Yeah.
Big Jelly at Florida State,
Yeah, he went
but
to Florida State tripping. Yep.
yeah, but our freshman year we played Edgewater in the Elite Eight.
Yep.
And I can remember so it's like 8 seconds on the clock. We got the ball, we down by one, and so we in the timeout. So coach was like, okay, Trap, we gonna give you the ball. And he
Yeah.
was like, nah, give it to AD. And I'm like, give it to me. I'm a freshman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we come out the break. They give me the ball. I'm coming off a pick and roll. I come off the pick and roll because Keith was guarding me. And he already 6'5", 6'6". I come off the pick and
Yep.
roll. I run right into Big Jelly and lose the ball and everything. Blow the game. You know what I mean? So
Shout out to Big Nigel, man.
so
Shout out to Big Nigel, man.
yeah,
People
man.
forget about
Good
him. He was
time.
big, but he was
Yeah,
dominant during this era, man.
he
Shout out to
was.
Nigel.
He was,
bro,
Yeah.
man. He was.
that's low key your I'm him moment for the star senior to say give the ball to the freshman with the game on the line to go to Lakeland. That's
Yeah.
your I'm him moment, bro.
Yeah, but looking back on it, it's like, okay, you could say that. But in that moment, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I shoot
Yeah.
it, So
That's love there, man.
yeah,
So
man.
so now that you named Miami Senior, I don't think I need to ask you who the best team you played against. Because I'm
That's the
sure
best
you go
team. So
absolutely.
that team, and then I don't know if you remember. So it was them, and then do you remember that? I don't know if you remember Brandon. Like I think Brandon was like 2002, 2003 when they had both of the Graham
That's
twins.
2000.
2000, yeah.
They lost the OG and them in the state
Oh,
championship.
yeah,
Yep.
they beat
Yep.
us. They put us out because we was in the same district, but they was 6'6", 6'7" across the board.
Yep.
That year. You know what I mean? So they was probably the second best team as a team, a collective team that I played against my
I'm
high
glad
school.
you said that. We got the Graham twins on next after you, probably
Oh,
next
for
week.
real?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Perfect
Yeah.
timing. Yep.
Yeah.
What did you? Nah, you too young, but he's kind of in that area. Is Teddy Dupay? So we got Teddy Dupay coming up, but he way older
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't know if Teddy was
He 98.
Yeah, I
98.
think my
Okay.
He
freshman
with
year,
UD
Teddy
and
was at
Ladarius them.
he was at Cape Coral Maryland my freshman year. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always hear about like this dude that take like a step past half court and shoot the ball. I'm like,
Yeah.
who is this dude? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then when he got to Florida, I started watching more of him. So
Yeah, all-time leading scorer. I always make sure to give him his flowers. And having this platform, we've been blessed to, like, we met you now, and hopefully it's not just the interview. We're able to build relationships and do things in the community and stuff like that. So by having this platform, Teddy is like my big brother now. I talk to Teddy once or twice a week, and I just always, man, he always feels like people forget about him. Maybe because he's a short white guy. I like to
that could be it.
But I'm like, no, we can't forget about Teddy.
Yeah,
you can't be the all-time leading scorer of the state of Florida and be forgotten about. That's why we started this platform.
Yeah,
so
he the truth.
I always got to give Teddy his flowers.
Absolutely.
And I'm a Gator. Go Gators. But
Go Gators.
I got to give it to him, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about your recruitment. And honestly, bro, like just from knowing Cornelius Ingram, y'all, and reading up and researching you, y'all recruitment is like, it was like a deja vu moment reading stuff on you. Like when you was at North Carolina, like you could tell both of y'all love basketball. Like the way the stuff y'all answered, you could tell like if y'all both went to North Carolina, I think y'all both would have been great dual sport guys up there. I don't think they would have pushed y'all to the, that Ron Curry type where you could play both or whatever. But would you choose basketball if you can go back? Would you choose basketball over football?
I wouldn't, because, and this is why, because of the reason I chose football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I would make the same decision. And the reason I love basketball. I had actually committed to Carolina to hoop. I committed. And so even when I went on my official visit to Florida State, you know how, like, I don't know about you, but I always used to wear like basketball shorts up under because we used to always wear baggy pants.
That was our era.
That's our era.
So I had on Carolina basketball shorts up under my pants, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember Jeff Bowden, who was at dinner, and he was talking to one of the other coaches, and I remember him saying, yeah, like, we got mom and dad, but he's not even paying us any attention, man. The kid has on Carolina basketball shorts. We're not going to get him,
Yeah.
And my plan was to go to Carolina. I wanted to hoop. Like, I was a hooper, you know what I mean? But the more that I started to think about it, right, it was like at that time when I came out, I was a 6'4" point guard, but it was like kind of the start of like the 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" point guards. So I wasn't as unique as I was in football, because when I came out as a quarterback, there wasn't a ton of like true dual threat quarterbacks like me. Yeah. So I was more unique in football. You know what I mean? Where in basketball, it was tons of 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" point guards. So that was a part of like what really kind of made me start thinking, okay, well, I can still hoop at Florida State, but I don't know if I can make that like the first option because of just the dynamic of the game right now. So it was that. And then Coach Bowden came down like a few weeks before signing day. And I remember him, we were sitting in my living room, and he was talking to my parents, and he was like, look, if Adrian plans to spend the rest of his life in the state of Florida, well, look at all of the alumni from Florida State here. Like, how many alumni of North Carolina are in Sarasota or Bradenton?
Yeah.
And that's when I started thinking about like life after. Okay, well, where do I want to live? Well, this is home. I want to be here. Well, there's so many alumni here. You know what I mean?
That's great. So selling point.
Yes.
He hit you with the business.
Yeah.
He hit you with the business move, bro.
He did.
You're right though.
But if I look at like what I do today, like I deal with a bunch of FSU alumni in this area, and it's family, and it's still, you know what I mean? So I think it was a combination of that, just starting to think about life after, but also realizing as a 17, 16-year-old kid that, bro, I'm kind of more unique in football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even going into, like, I remember my sophomore year, we played Miami Northwestern in football state championship game, and they beat us to sleep. Like, it was 35-0 state championship game. They was loaded.
And let me interject. Y'all cheated Lincoln to get there. That field goal, I remember.
You remember that? You remember that? Hey,
Yes.
you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, but we, you know what I'm saying? We go there, we lose. So after that game, I say, you know, like, so my pops was like, okay, we played the basketball season. And he was kind of like, bro, you got to kind of decide what you want, like what you want to do. Like,
Mm.
you about to be a junior, you want to play football, you want to play basketball. And I'm like, I'm done with football. I'm done. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I was done playing football. And then we were that summer on the way to the Nike All American camp in Indianapolis, like driving to Indianapolis. We stopped somewhere. I don't know if it was Tennessee, Kentucky. I don't know where we stopped. But wherever we stopped, they had the Streets and Smith magazine. Remember them, the Streets and Smith
Yeah.
magazine?
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
So my pops go in the store, he come out the store, and he got a Streets and Smith magazine. And he's like, man, take a look at this. And so they do like the top 50 juniors in the country in football. I was
Mm.
one of the top 50 juniors in the country.
Mm.
So he was like, what you gonna do? Like, you gonna quit or you gonna, and that's what made me continue to play football.
So
Like
your
that
daddy,
magazine.
stopping is the main reason.
Well,
That is
If,
crazy.
yeah, if we wouldn't have saw that magazine, I was done. I was done playing.
Man, your dad
Wow.
the GOAT, man. Your dad did. I
Yeah.
love that you talk about your father a lot because I'm the only child. I grew up with my mom, and oftentimes you hear athletes, they always giving their mama the credit. Nothing
Yeah.
against mamas, because mamas,
Yeah.
we love our moms, but you
Yeah.
never really hear as much as father admiration as
Yeah,
this. So
man.
I salute to that.
Mm.
But I want to
Yeah.
rewind because you brought up Cornelius, and we talked to Cornelius as well. Are you familiar with Cornelius
Yeah,
Ingram?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, do sport. He's in
Yep.
my class. He was always the number one. I played with Darius Washington Jr. So
Yep.
he
Yeah.
was always, him and Cornelius was always number one, number two. And like you said, the same thing. Cornelius was 6'5". In basketball, that's average.
Yep.
But football, 6'5", that tight end, like
Yep.
that's
Absolutely.
that's the
Absolutely.
perfect size. But when we interviewed him, he I want to say he said, man, he still kept up with everything basketball. Like he was
Yep.
at Florida and like, man, I'm still watching the guys I played with play basketball this whole time. I was addicted to basketball. Did you still have
Yeah.
that same kind of
Yeah.
feeling?
You know what's crazy is, okay, so yes, I did answer your question, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know, like, okay, so you take like, I remember watching the NBA years later while I'm still playing football. I think at the time I was in Canada, but like I played against Ben Gordon in high school. I gave them 40. You know what I'm saying? Like I gave them 40. I played against Mo Williams. I gave them 30 something. Like, so when I'm seeing these dudes in the league, I'm like, what if? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Sound
what
just
if
like
I would have?
Cornelius.
Yeah, it's like, what if I would have kept playing? You know what I mean? And mind you, even when I played against them, like even when I played against the Ben Gordon, like that's all they did. Like I was
Yeah.
still doing both at the time. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
so you know, sometimes you do, and I can remember this was like, so I was in Canada, and this was like my second year in Canada. I'm like 23 maybe at the time, and I just kind of got like this. I'm like, I want to play basketball. You know what I mean? So I came home in the off season, and I told my agent, "Can you get me a tryout in the D League?"
Mm.
And he was like, because they was based out in LA. So you know, you got the I don't know if it was the Clippers organization or the Lakers organization at the time, but I got a workout for them.
Oh
You know
no.
what I mean? So so I had like 2 months, month and a half maybe. So I was back home. I started going to IMG just because they had Jerry Jeffries, all them boys was over there hooping all the time. So I started going
Mm.
over there to train.
Mhm.
I had to like lose like 20 some pounds because at the time I'm like 220, but that's not a basketball body.
Yeah.
So now I got to get back down to, you know. So I trained for 2 months. I go out, I get the invite to training camp in the D League. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go hoop. But then the team in Canada found out, and they was like, you under contract. Like, you can't go play basketball. So
Yeah,
then
that's
I
when
had
you
to
know.
gain the weight back to get ready for
Oh
training
Lord.
camp. Yeah, so it was always still kind of that, kind of what if. And
Yeah.
then as you get older, you realize a little bit more like, man, you can go play basketball all over the world. Where like in high school, your mind ain't thinking that way. It's
No.
just, you know what I'm saying, the NBA or nothing.
Nothing.
That's all you think it is. So I think for the reasons I made the decision, I probably would have still picked football.
Yeah.
But I do kind of wonder, well, what if I would have hooped? Like I wonder how that would have turned out.
No, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And let me say this too, because we didn't gloss over it, but bro, I gotta give you your flowers on this. You are one of the only players that is mentioned. It's three lists people care about in Florida. You got the athlete list,
Yeah,
you got the football list,
yeah.
and the basketball list. Bro, you are mentioned in all three. When somebody just talk about pure athletes,
Yeah,
Adrian McPherson name come up. Somebody
yeah,
talk about basketball, Adrian McPherson name come
yeah,
up. Somebody talk about football. Bro, you're the only player in Florida got a Mr. Basketball and a
yeah.
Mr. Football.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
That
Like
I
you're the
I
only
still
one.
I still can't even comprehend. It's still kind of it's crazy. Like I can't even because I just think about like the year I came out, like the dudes that was actually playing football that year. You know what I mean? Like all the talent, and then you think about all the talent in basketball. Like it's kind of even hard to even comprehend that you still was able to accomplish that. You know what I mean? Especially like if you were to tell me, okay, you could have saw me being Mr. Basketball, I would say, okay, cool, yeah, I could have saw that. But
Yeah.
not football. You know what I mean? Like I ain't really care about football. You know what I mean? But I was a competitor. So like a whole bunch of things had to just like fall in place for that to even happen. Like Southeast was an option team. My said forever. Like they always ran the option. And even my sophomore year, we ran kind of the option. We had two 1,500-yard running backs. And then
Dang.
we just kind of fell into throwing the ball because both of them left my junior year. Like we had my junior year, we had four receivers that played JV the year before. Nobody heard of them.
Wow.
And they
Yeah.
went from like playing varsity for like coming up in July or June or whatever, we're playing JV, no offers. By the end of our junior year, all of us had like 30 offers in football. It was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we was kind of like ahead of our time because coach was like, I'm like, coach, I'm not really a runner. Like I can run, but I'm not really a runner. You know what I mean? And then we just had four guys that was receivers, and coach was like, look, I don't really know much about passing the ball, so we gonna do this together. Which I'm grateful that he did that because he was honest enough to say, I don't know how to do this. Let's do it
Mhm.
together. You know what I mean? He also didn't try to make me fit in his system because he had been successful forever running an option. But he was like, look, this kid is not an option kid. So he changed his system to fit what I did well. Most coaches wouldn't do that, in my
No,
opinion. They would just
absolutely
say, "We're
not.
gonna do it. We won this way."
Yeah.
Um, so the basketball part didn't really surprise me. The football did, just because of like what we started at 2 years before
Yeah.
that. But then, I mean, yeah, we was just before our time. I feel like nobody was throwing the ball the way we threw the ball. My
You
senior
broke
year.
you broke the state record in career touchdowns, though, right?
I don't even know. That's the thing. I don't even know. You know what I mean?
We got to
That's
look
the
it
thing.
up. We're gonna look
I
it up
believe
by the
I
time we
believe it was
drop the episode.
77 and you had
Oh, you know what?
81.
Yeah. I broke Kenny Kelly record. Like
That's
he
what it
had the
was.
record at the
Yep.
time, and then I
Yeah.
broke his record.
In
But I didn't do that.
basketball, who was the runner up during that time when you won Mr. Basketball? Do you know? Like who was in that group that kind of gave you a run for it?
In
I don't
'01, it
even
might have
know.
been Amari.
No,
Well, nah,
Amari 02.
because Amari didn't play that year. He didn't play until
Yeah, he played. Remember, that's when he came. That's
that
why he went
next
to
year.
Country. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
I'm
don't
gonna
even
look that
like
up.
Let me
I,
look.
I was I was so locked in on just hooping. I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. I just used to be hooping.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Did you go to
Yeah.
the big camps like the ABCD camps and stuff like that for
So my
basketball?
so my yeah, so my sophomore year, I went to ABCD.
Okay.
And then my junior, because you go like the summer before your upcoming.
Yep.
So my junior year going into my senior year, so at that time, so we played our first AAU tournament, the Boo Williams Classic. Went to Boo Williams. I came out of Boo Williams, the number 3 ranked point guard in the country at that time. You know
Oh,
what I
Wow.
mean? Yeah, I was the number 3 ranked point guard and like the 20th player in the country overall. So that camp was gonna be huge for me. You know what I mean? As far as like one of my goals was to make the McDonald's All-American game. So we was working out at Southeast for football because I still got to do both. Um, Somebody threw the ball, it hit the tip of my pointer finger and dislocated my finger.
dang.
So I couldn't even go to the Nike All American camp, which
I see.
really
Yeah,
like yeah.
yeah.
So
That would have stamped you or gave you an extra stamp.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And even back then, like I really didn't understand the true importance of all that stuff because
Yep.
my freshman year, I got invited to the Nike All American, and I didn't even go. Like I was just like, I don't want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
right.
just not being aware of like
Yeah.
the importance of
Mm-hmm.
it. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, it was more so like, man, I've been going all year. It's the summer. I just want to rest for a little bit. Not
Yeah, that makes sense.
understanding, well, this is how you get into these different things. You know what I mean? So we dropped the ball on that one, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So my Bradenton crew will be mad if I don't ask this question. I ain't gonna tell you which one of your homeboys told me to ask you this, but okay. Who is the GOAT football player at Southeast? Peter Ward or Adrian McPherson?
Me.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Me. Like, cause this my thing. Like, I'm not gonna do the political thing. It's me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is to me, this is why, right? Like, I feel like Pete was a great player, but Pete played on a great team. Like, if
Mm,
you look at his team, bro, they was number 1 in the country. They was number 2 in the country. Like, I think on that team, like if you remove Pete from the team, they still win.
mm.
They
Hell
still
of a case.
they did win because his senior year he had I don't know some type of surgery, so he didn't even play the first 4, 5, 6, whatever games. They won because bro, they was loaded. Like they had something crazy like 15 or 16 dudes on their team when they played Division 1 football off that the starting 22. It was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
loaded.
if you if you remove me from our team, we don't
And he
win.
played quarterback too, right?
But he did. Like he was a
Okay.
receiver, but he was an athlete. Now, if you say who was the best athlete, I would say him.
Yeah.
I think he was a better athlete than me. But if you
Yeah.
say just straight like football player and what like this particular player meant to the team, I would say me.
Yeah.
Just because like we don't, and this is no like we don't go without me. You know what I mean?
No, for real.
With the
Yeah.
system that we ran, and
Yeah.
like we playing. Like we playing St. Thomas every year. We playing Lakeland every year. We playing dogs, and we not even in those games without
Mm.
like my senior. You can ask anybody on my team. My senior year in high school, I called every single play the whole season. My
Mm.
coaches didn't call one play,
Wow.
not one play,
You
and
was
and
on your
I didn't
Peyton
even
Manning.
know what's that.
You was on your Peyton Manning at that time.
Yeah, they would just be like, "What you seeing?" And I'm like, "I got it." You know what I'm saying? Like we had 4 Division I receivers, so it was hard. And our running back was a Division I running back. Like, so like you can't guard that. You know what I mean? So it was all about just creating matchups and stuff like, mismatches and stuff like that. But when it comes, I would say I was the better football player, but he was definitely a better athlete.
Yeah. And see, that's why I be talking about like the list. Like Pete will be on 2 of those lists. Pete will be on the athlete list, and Pete will be on the
Mhm.
football list.
Yeah,
But they said Pete could hoop, but Pete wouldn't be mentioned with in the
yeah,
basketball list. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, for sure,
Like
for
most
sure.
most of your greats gonna probably be 2 out of bro. You on
Yeah.
all 3. That's
Bro,
crazy.
I thought you was about to ask me who took my job at quarterback when we used to play youth league football. I was gonna say, oh, that was Fave all day. Fave told you that.
Oh,
Cause
Oh, he did.
Fave used to play
oh
quarterback. Yeah,
man!
Got
Shout
Fave
out
you.
used
to
to play.
Fade, man.
Shout
Fade the
out to
one gave me
Fade, man. Yeah.
Fade the one gave me
Yeah,
your phone number, man. Like,
yeah,
shout out to
yeah,
my boy Fade Watch, man.
yeah.
But I need your top 5 from Florida.
Hold on, bro. We moving too fast, bro. We ain't even really get into life or nothing. Like, hold
Yeah.
on. We
I
gonna
thought
get
we
we
we always end with the life stuff. I thought.
no, hold on, bro. We got to get into it. So look, okay, you want Mr. Florida, Mr. Basketball, right? You
Yep.
go to Florida State.
Yep.
Um, I'm assuming, but you can correct me on this. It probably didn't go as you panned it out to, right?
Yep.
As you kind of had the vision up to it. So me
Mm-hmm.
being like I said, we don't only just want to talk about sports. We want to talk about life. And me being like I said, an agent. I've been an agent the past 5 years. I'm able
Yep.
to I just like to be transparent. For me,
Yep.
I made my first $500,000. I ain't paid no taxes on it. I owe the IRS $100,000. So
Yep.
now I'm able to tell my athletes, hey, pay your taxes, bro.
Yep.
Hey, stay away from the women, bro.
Yep.
What advice would you give an athlete just from your career to do what to do and what not to do that will be watching this? Because we got kids from 8 years old to
Yeah.
college athletes to professionals watching this.
Um, yeah, I mean, I work with kids now, and for that reason, like, um, my journey. Now, I only want to call it a mistake, because I think what happened, what was supposed, I think had what not happened, I would be in a worse situation in life right now than
Mm,
I would than I am. Like I'm in a great spot right now, but had that not happened at Florida State, I would have gone my whole life with really no adversity. You know what I mean? Like the best at football, the best at basketball, nobody really telling me no, a whole bunch of people around me for the wrong reasons. Then I feel like I would have made a lot of money with no financial sense, lost the money,
yeah.
and be depressed or just all messed up. You know what I mean? So I feel like what happened at Florida State just allowed me to align with the right people that was supposed to be in my life. You know what I mean? So that's kind of that first thing. Like I never, when I first started playing ball, like it was I just wanted to be the best I could be. Like
Yeah.
so it was to get a free college education and to become the best player I could become. It was never like I never even thought about playing in the NFL or the NBA. Like I never even thought that far. Um, but me wanting to be the best I could be kept me going. Oh, like nothing was ever good enough because it's like, okay, well I did this. Let me see what I can do next. You know what I mean? So staying ton of vision on just being the best person I could be. So that would be the first thing, right? Like I never got caught up in what other people was doing. I never knew who was ranked where. None of that. It was just everybody was nameless and faceless to me. Wherever I showed
Mm,
up, I was just like my pops used to say, hey, look, you play ball in the state of Florida. All you got to do is be the best player on the field or on the court every single night. Somebody will see you. So when he said that, it sounds easy to do. But like looking back on it, it's like, man, I played with some dogs. But my whole
yeah.
thing was be the best every single night. You know what I mean? So that kept me going. That kept me motivated. That kept me going. So then when I got to Florida State, it was like, oh shoot, I got a free education. That was as far as that was what it was about, like getting a free education. but also becoming the best player I can be. So when I got there, I still never really knew I had the ability to play in the league. And then I got there and I'm seeing dudes like as a freshman, I'm seeing guys get drafted that I just practiced with all year. And I'm like, hold up. He went, I could go. You know what I mean? I was just practicing with him all year. So that made it reality for me. Like I was just practicing with this dude. Now he's playing on Sundays and I watched the way he worked and what he did all year. So that made it a little bit more tangible for me, so to speak. But then and then I was able to play in the league, get to the league. So play arena, I was the first person to ever get drafted from arena, which is crazy. Like to get drafted from arena football, like actually drafted in the draft. And the dude that was starting over me at Florida State was in the same draft with me, and I got drafted, and he did. It was crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, the reason I don't think I stuck in the NFL, right? Which it didn't bother me because it was never, that wasn't my dream. My dream was just to make it there, which I did. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
taught me you got to be more detailed in your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Because what you've been dreaming for, you got that. You know what I'm saying? You just wanted to make it there.
That's a
I
But
gem,
love
bro.
that. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
gem. I love
That's
that.
a
but
gem there, bro.
but but what I didn't do is I had a plan all the way to get there. So I had a plan to get from high school to college. Once I saw dudes in college getting drafted, I had a plan to get from college to the league. I had no plan for when I got to the league. So when I got there, I didn't know what to do.
You're
It's
winging it.
like you're winging it. So you got to think
Mm-hmm.
in high school, everything is planned for you. In college, everything is planned for you. When I got drafted, I was a 20-year-old kid in New Orleans by myself. You know what I mean? Practice over at 1 o'clock. I had no plan for how to stay there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I tell kids today. Whatever you're doing, you got to have a plan how you going to get there, how you going to stay there. You know what I mean? And that would kind of be my advice to kids, just man, like block out the noise, stay focused on yourself, be a good person. You know what I mean? And you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
I
That's
think that's the
love.
most important is just having a
And it,
plan.
it is harder to do now with social media and NIL, right? So I don't want to put my kids' business out there, but I got athletes, they 19 getting $400,000,
Yeah,
$300,000. So that's why I think it's important for this platform. Like I said, yeah, we're gonna talk sports, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna give our GOAT lists and stuff like that. But like I said, the greatest human act is to inspire. So
for
being
sure.
able to be, I call ourselves young OGs. I hate when they call me
Yeah,
OG.
yeah,
Um,
But for us to be able to have platforms and be able to speak and give advice, I think it's extremely important to let people know our mishaps and things we did right and we did wrong. And to, like you said, to have a plan. That's
yeah,
super big because I see oftentimes people just winging it.
yeah, for
And
sure.
and sometimes you can be so talented. Even myself, I think God gave me a blessing to be able to connect with people and speak, right? So when
Yep,
I was in college, I was in public speaking and I would just wing my presentations, but
yeah,
I'll get a B.
yeah,
But if I would have planned, I would have got an A plus.
for sure,
You know,
yeah.
for
so
sure.
sometimes even in sports, and you can be great in sports, you just winging it. Or
Yeah,
whatever it is, like you said, you were so great in two sports, you had a dream to get there, but when you got there, you didn't have a plan. So that's a huge gem, and I'm glad you
yeah,
said that. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And also, to your point of like guys, being able to get paid or getting
mhm,
paid, 300, 400, whatever they getting paid at a young age. It also gives us an opportunity to teach them, right? Like because I personally feel like you know if you get that, bro, you blessed. But it also gives you an opportunity to put a team of people around you because that's what you're gonna need ultimately to be successful,
yep,
anyways, right? So I start talking to kids young, like bro, like you got a chance. You got to put a team of people around you, and it's tough sometimes too, right? Because it's more people that haven't done it than have. So kids don't really know that. So if you got 20 people saying one thing and you got one or two saying something completely different, they're not saying, okay, well, these two have actually done it. They're just saying, well, these people saying this, and it's more of them saying this than what you saying. So they typically like to go with numbers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I think it's a blessing for those guys. They able to make some good money.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, man. Like you rather you get it at 18 or 22, you still gonna have to be disciplined. You still gonna have to have a plan in place. You still gonna have to, be able to do those things.
Yep.
And so hopefully those young men can start doing some of that.
I like giving tangible advice, right? Practical advice. You
Yeah.
say plan, that could be broad. How does one create a plan from your perspective?
So for me, so once I got released in New Orleans, right? Like pretty much my whole life I had gotten by on talent, ability. Like I was just better than people. Um and I worked hard, but I wasn't strategic in my work. You know what I mean? Like I would lift, I would run, I would throw, like
Yeah.
study, film, cool. Once I got released in New Orleans, I knew I wasn't I didn't do everything I could, but I didn't know exactly what I didn't do. You know what I mean? So when I went to Montreal, I was in Montreal for 7 years and then Toronto for 3. When I went to Canada, I had a plan from the moment I woke up in the morning till I laid my head down.
Mm.
On days we had practice, on days we had games, and on off days. So like it was just I was a robot. I get up at this time, this what I eat, this when I leave the house, this where like I did the same exact thing every single day. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I could
Wow.
like, but like game days, bro, I would work out for like 2.5 hours, like a full blown workout. And I remember the first preseason game, the head coach was like, "Hey man, why are you working out like that?" I'm like, "Coach, I got to do it." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we played the preseason game. I played well. After that game, he told the other coaches, "Don't touch his routine. Let him do whatever he doing. Let him do it." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but it was that meticulous, right? Like from the moment I woke up to the time I went to sleep, what I ate, bro, like it was all the same, and I did the same things because I knew it worked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I wouldn't deviate from it. You know what I mean? Like, I wore the same cleats from not the same exact cleat, but the same style from the time
Yeah.
I got to Canada to the time like it worked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think when it comes to planning, like that's how meticulous I was. So it's somebody out there doing it and doing it at a higher level than me. You know what I mean? So I just think that's you got to be that detailed with the work.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you look at these high profile entrepreneurs, the Mark Zuckerberg over Facebook,
Yeah,
Steve Jobs over Apple, it's a thing scientifically. I'm a nerd, so
yeah,
it's a thing scientifically called decision fatigue, right?
hmm
Our brain, we don't want to make too many decisions. So that's why the Mark Zuckerberg, the Steve Jobs, the Jeff Bezos, they're wearing the same outfit every day. They meal
correct.
prepping. So
Yeah,
you don't have to make all these decisions and you're able to focus on your craft more instead of, oh, what I'm
absolutely,
gonna eat today, what I'm gonna wear today, what I'm gonna do this.
absolutely.
So being able to have a plan, like you said, to have that in place and be very strategic with it every day, that's a blessing. So I'm glad you said that because
Absolutely.
that's a big gym, boss, for sure.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Chris, now we could get into the top five, baby. We can get
Oh, okay, my bad.
no, I just me, bro. I
No,
always say like I
yeah, I
like
thought you
life
I
and I
thought you
want
wanted to end with that. That was
no,
fun.
no, no, you
But
good.
hold on, one quick thing before we get to that list. If you were sitting in a barbershop and someone asked to describe Adrian McPherson's game, how would you describe your game on the basketball court?
Ooh, I love that. Great.
Uh, complete. Like
Mm.
I think I had a complete game. You know what I mean? I like if you watch me play, you would probably think I was left-handed. You know what I'm saying? Like I always preferred to have the ball in my left hand. because I wanted people to think I was left-handed. You know what I mean? Like I wanted them to think my right hand was actually my weaker hand when it was my dominant hand. You know what I mean? Um, I could shoot the tray ball. I had a mid-range game. I can go to the hoop. I could shoot free throws real good. Um, I
Don't
would
forget
say I
that
was real.
crossover. Don't
Yeah,
forget
I
that
had a good
crossover.
crossover.
Don't.
Yeah, my defense was a little like I wasn't the greatest defensively until I got upset. But I would just say probably complete is
Yeah.
probably the way I would
Who did you
describe it.
model your game coming up in Florida? Who did you look at and say, "Damn, I like his game"?
I didn't watch basketball. I
Oh yeah,
didn't
that's
watch
right.
sports.
Yeah, you were
I
tunnel
like
vision.
it was the
Yeah,
craziest
Yeah, bro,
thing.
bro was
Like
different.
like I can remember my pop saying, "Hey man, this Jordan. We talking about Jordan. Man, you got to watch Michael Jordan play." And I'm like, I don't want to watch it. I want to play. Let's get better. You know, like
yeah,
I literally always felt like anytime I spent not working
yeah,
was time I could have been working. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like even like when I started getting recruited, I didn't go on unofficial. I didn't do none of that because I wanted to get better. You know,
Got
um,
you. So being the
so
Florida kid, Penny Hardaway, when
it wasn't even like the football. I used to try to model my game after Randall Cunningham,
okay, yeah, I can see that.
but
Okay.
honestly, that was only because he was kind of the only black quarterback I saw, and I'm like, well, if
Yeah,
he can do it, I can do it. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But from a basketball standpoint, like I didn't even watch it. I didn't even
Yeah,
watch it.
no,
Yeah,
that's right.
you gonna see on the video when I drop it tomorrow, bro. I described you as smooth. Like
Okay,
I
okay,
saw you in a few open runs in Tallahassee, and
yeah.
I was like, bruh, he played football for Florida State, and it was so crazy, bro. Like when bruh, it's like I just remember how you did the love with the and your jump shot. It was pure, bruh.
So
I
Chris, who would
appreciate
you
you.
say he played? Like, how would you describe his game?
I would compare him to Penny, but with a smoother jumper than Penny.
Got you. Okay,
Okay,
Yeah, because
love it.
what
he had that great face up game, and like you said, like you seem like your crossover was always from left to right.
it was? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's why.
was. It
Like
was.
when I saw, cause you know, Tallahassee was very competitive back then. Like, cause you had
Yep,
with the Wildcats AAU team and TCC was good at the time.
yep,
Florida
yep,
State.
yep.
So the open runs, you will never know who would come in there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
definitely saw you a few times, bro. You were special, and
I appreciate it.
you one of the people I always be like, he should have hooped.
I know, man. Yeah, I
I
appreciate
do
that.
got a selfish question though, boss, and we gonna wrap this thing up. Appreciate your time once again. Why not the Gators though, bro? Why Florida State? Like, why,
Okay,
you know what I'm
I'll say.
saying? Like,
So if we're being completely honest, so my sophomore year, my sophomore year, so my cousin actually went to Florida.
okay,
Um, and he played safety at Florida. So my sophomore year, he was already at Florida with like Tony George
ooh,
and
that's tough.
like he
That's
came in
tough.
that class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, and he was just like, "Cuz if you come here, they gonna move you to receiver."
that's real.
And
That's real.
that did it for me. Like at that
Yeah,
time, that was what was happening. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I can remember them calling me like whenever that first night was that they can call juniors, they called me and I'm like, Coach, I'm not interested. Like,
Got
Coach,
you.
I've never seen anybody that looks like me play
Yeah,
quarterback there. So for that reason, I'm out. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
What they had Rex
So that's
Grossman at the time. Rex Grossman was the quarterback, maybe.
they had
I
who
think
was
so.
before Rex?
Oh,
Because
before
Rex,
Rex.
yeah, was it Doug Johnson?
Okay, yeah, because Doug was after Danny. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so
Palmer.
Doug was leaving and Rex was just coming in. Like
Got you.
Rex was
Okay.
yeah. So as I was going in, so as I was getting ready to go into college, Rex was there. Rex was the year before me.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's so crazy. The year after you, Gavin Dickey from
Yep,
Tallahassee signed to Florida to play quarterback, and
yep.
soon when he got there, they moved Gavin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
And
but you gotta think too, um, the coaching staff changed too, right?
Yeah, they did.
Because that's when Ron Zook came
Look,
in. But
hey, yeah.
Zook wasn't there when I was coming out. You know what I
Okay.
Got
mean?
you.
Yeah, that was a different. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Zook would
So
have let you rock out, I believe.
yeah,
Zook
because
had great recruiting classes.
that's when
Yeah.
he let Chris. Like, that's when Chris took over.
Yeah.
Chris Lee took
Yeah.
over. Yeah. So
So top 5 from Florida. You can go any position.
top
Just 5.
of all
Basketball.
time
Yeah, of all time.
that
Gotta
I
be
played against.
born and hooped here.
No, not even
That
who
I
you played against. Your top 5 of the Florida
Yeah, like your Vince
basketball history.
Carters and your
okay.
5.
So I would have to go to the best of my knowledge because I would go Vince
For sure.
in there. I would go Tracy McGrady in there. I gotta go with T Mac. Um, I gotta put Teddy Dupay in there because of everything he's done. Like I
Teddy.
gotta put him. Trying to think. So them 3.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you got 2 more.
what I got?
It's
I got
tough.
2 more.
It's tough though.
I gotta go Amari.
Oh yeah, you
I
got
gotta
to.
put
That's a
Amari in
lot.
there. Yeah, I gotta put Amari in there.
This way it get
Um,
hard.
this where it get hard.
Yep.
So I got to go with a big man, though, right?
No, go whoever you want.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's just your 5. And you probably forgetting about players that's from here too. You probably aren't because you ain't watched.
That's right. Like and I did not watch
Yeah.
like beyond me. Like once I
Yeah.
was gone, I was gone. So like a lot of the younger cats that was like real good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even see them play. I
Yeah.
don't,
You
you know what I
got
mean?
Eddie Jones, Mitch Richmond. You got some
I didn't
hoopers.
even know they was from Florida. I ain't
That's
know
why.
that.
That's why I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know they was from Florida. I played against, so I got to go with Udonis Haslam, man. Like what he used to do.
UD.
Yeah, I gotta go with UD, man, just because of I played against him and then what he did in that era. So that's my 5. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Shout out
So
to
you
UT, man.
take that 5.
Uh-huh.
Who's your GOAT?
Out of that 5, I gotta go with Vince. I'm gonna go with Vince.
I think that's most people. You can't really because Vince Hall of Fame. Well, T Mac is too.
It's Vince and T Mac. Like they here.
Yeah.
If we talking best like raw talent though, it's Amari though, man, because that man
For
was
sure.
a man child, bro.
Look, man, listen. So I played with Amari. It was my sophomore year. He was a freshman.
Mhm.
So I'm talking about. So we played on the AAU team together. Bro, clumsy, kicking the ball over. I'm like, bro, who is this dude? At the time, he was like 6'6", 6'7". I'm like, bro, he is not very good. You know what I mean? And the coach was like, I'm telling you, he's gonna grow into his body. He's gonna be pretty good. Now his brother Hazel went to Southeast before me. You know what I
Play with
mean?
Pete.
Yep. So Mari left and went to Mount Zion for like a summer or a semester or something. I hadn't seen him since the last time we had played. He came back. We was at AAU practice, so they had the guards on one end of the floor and the big men on the other end. All I like, we drilling, skilling and drilling. All I hear on the other end is like, boom. I'm like, what is that? Like, boom. I'm like, what is that? I turn around, it's Mari. I'm like, bro, what have you been doing for the last 6 months? And he was like, bro, all we did was play ball. Like we go to school for like 2 or 3 hours, and then we just hoop. Bro, this cat went from, we had our first AAU tournament. We was both with Team Florida at the time, Nike Team Florida. He went there. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody. Because you got to remember, he had never played high school ball because he at the time he hadn't had the grades.
Yeah.
So he went there. Nobody knew who he was. He left that weekend tournament and was the #1 player in the country in his class. Bro, we played Tyson Chandler. He gave Tyson Chandler like 40.
Yeah,
And
he
then
gave up for it in high school.
we played Tyson Chandler. He played that week we played Darius Miles. He gave him like 30 something. And then we played Eddie Curry, and he gave him like 30 something. He left there, bro. He was the number one player in the country in his class. It was crazy. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
Wow.
that's kind of like the T
Yep.
Mac story.
The T-Mac story. Yep.
Yeah, like shout out to
Yeah.
T Mac. T Mac started that Mount Zion from Florida. So with T Mac,
Yep.
Marquise Daniels went, and then Amari, and all those
Yep.
boys had great NBA careers. So
Absolutely.
that's solid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So before we get out of here, once again, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is the first episode of season 2 of Florida Hoop Legends. We got some dope legends on the way. We got Teddy Dupay, UD. We got Keon Doolin. I don't know if you remember Keon Doolin.
Yes, sir.
Keon
Yep.
Doolin
Yep.
on the way
Yep.
there. I met Vince Carter last week on the airplane. He's familiar with the brand. So today, we just want to give your flowers again, King, for not only your big contribution to Florida sports, but to Florida basketball. Time is something we never get back in this world. We can lose money, we can lose whatever it is, but we don't get back time. So for you to sit down and talk to us for an hour and 10 minutes, we greatly appreciate that. We greatly appreciate, like you said, you're talking to kids now. You sat down, you talk with us, but just for being a Florida Hoop legend. So we got to give you flowers while you're still living. So appreciate you for joining the platform, brother.
Yep.
Sure.
I appreciate y'all for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. How can the people find you? Anything you got coming up? Anything you doing? Shout your stuff out.
Man, I'm just being a dad right now, bro. I got 2 little girls.
Yeah.
I pretty much
Okay.
I'm under the radar. You know what I mean? I like to just stay low key. You know what I mean?
Sir.
So I got a little 707 program.
Okay.
More so a mentor program, but just use football to kind of get the guys in the network, and we do a lot of just academic, components to what we do, some mentorship stuff, and then just try to be there to lead those guys.
What's the name of your 7-on-7 program?
It's called Rise Sports, man. So it's RI. The S is the number 5 instead of S, and then it's E, and it means respect is something earned. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So
I like that.
we always trying to give them something to when you put the name on, it means more than just a word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just trying to give back where I can and inspire where I can, and more importantly, be there for the kids wherever I can. So
I would love to collaborate on it because I wasn't as good as you, right? So I always say being able to play a sport, though I play with high level individuals, like I said, I won state and all of that. But I always say me not being good in sports helped me become a better businessman. So I've been able to have a great life in business, and then also having fun being a sports agent. So I would love to collab. I like to go out to schools and teach them, hey, everybody not gonna go to the league, but you can be an agent and still have fun and still make good money in life. So I would definitely love to collab and show the kids a different light outside of just shooting the basketball, throwing the ball. It's like, hey, you can still have a profession in sports. It's still many different professions. An agent, you could do the marketing, you could do the graphic design, the videographer. So we'd love to collab on something like that in the future.
Let's do it, man. So
Okay.
just grab them from Chris, and let's get together, let's connect, because I definitely think there's something we could do there as well.
For sure. Once again, y'all, appreciate you for tuning in to Florida Hoop Legends. Please like, subscribe, share it. We got more legends on the way. Big love, and we out.
All right, y'all be good, man. See you.
Hey, appreciate